Like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do? And then he said this. And he said, I don't want some BS about I want to play in the NFL, or I want to be an astronaut, or I want to like. And I just thought, what? Oh, okay. So basically, and there's this line of thought that I hear many people echo that is like, bring it down to a minimal level. Don't dream too big. Don't think too big. Make it basic. Do basic things. And the problem with that is basic things don't get us up out of bed in the morning with excitement and joy, invigorated to live. What gets us up? Hope that we can do something great with our lives. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with my incredible co-host, Coach Mia.
Thanks, Seth. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Awesome.
And before we dive in, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And I want to remind you that you can actually listen to this show anywhere podcasts are streamed. You can also, if you're like me and you're a visual learner, you can watch us on our YouTube channel at the 5-Star Life, or on yourhometv.com. It's yourhometv.com. Again, YouTube and yourhometv.com have all the archives, all the stuff. But either way, if you hit the subscribe button, they'll automatically come to your inbox. It'll be a reminder. It'll be there for you. So thank you to those who are consistent listeners, and we're looking forward to a great show.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk a little bit about, I've been in schools. Spring is a time where I'm in as many schools as possible, just really connecting with kids and teachers and just listening to how 5-Star Life is impacting them. And also, it's the way that we build up a library of topics, like what's going on from 3rd grade to 11th grade, what's going on in your life and your family and your friend group. And we go through and talk to thousands of kids. And there's often some themes that come out that are either things that are really powerful that help them, or things they wish we would talk about that we can start to unpack. And so we then take that back into the lab and come up with a new theme.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the recordings that you and Kevin got. And kids, I'm always amazed. I truly am amazed how much they retain and how smart they are. I mean, these kids are deep. Like some of those topics they asked you to, teach on.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So we're in a 1st grade building. It's like kindergarten and 1st graders. And the first class I walk into, I'm like, so talk to me about not really knowing what kind of feedback I'm going to get from 1st graders. But I said, what do you remember? What helped you with your 5-Star Life? And the first hand that shut up, this girl said when she put her thumb right on her nose, it said, when you taught us the breathing technique, how to breathe, to just take deep breaths and calm down, go in one nostril, hold it and go out the other nostril. It's like, I use that and it helps me. So
tell me this, they watch the video once and they get notes. Like, how was she able to retain that?
I mean, part of this is their teachers are bought into it.
Yeah.
So the teachers will reinforce what they're learning and have kids practice.
Okay.
So they're embedding it into their classroom because it's an incredibly simple tool that teachers are like, heck yeah, I'm going to use this tool for my kids. When they start to escalate and get upset, just, hey, remember what Coach Seth said? Remember what we worked on? Mm-hmm. Take a moment. But then these kids are doing it on their own too. I mean, there's some classes where kids just do it.
Yeah, and as a teacher, it takes all the pressure off of them. And Coach Seth said to do this.
That's what teachers love about Coach Seth and 5-Star Life video curriculum is it's somebody else reinforcing what they want to teach them anyways, right? Mm-hmm. So it's amazing. So many like clips and feedback pieces from kids. There was a kid who talked about just how he had a pattern of lying, and he talked about that. Matter of fact, Kevin, our producer back here, do you have that clip? Can we pull that up really quick? This kid, it's, again, the whole purpose of 5-Star Life video curriculum is to help equip kids with how do I live a 5-star life? So much of the time, Mia, adults think that we have to be punitive in how we teach kids about how to live a 5-star life. Don't do this. Don't do that. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. And kids, like their brains literally tune that out. Like literally, our brains are trained to tune stuff out that is inconsequential and the nagging. And so what we're doing is we're teaching like, well, when you lie, that's not having integrity. We define integrity. And when you lie, what you do is you hurt yourself because you know you lied. Even if nobody else knows, you know, and you feel awful about it. And so if you want to avoid feeling awful about being dishonest or lying or cheating or not doing your homework or whatever, just have integrity.
Yeah. Set yourself free.
Yeah. And so but I think sometimes as adults, we think that it's above kids' intellect, and it's not. So, Kevin, you ready? Can we show this?
And I saw this one when it was, I believe it was back in 3rd grade actually. I saw this one video about integrity, and that had changed my life forever because I used to lie a lot and to my parents to get away with things. And I was like, you shouldn't do that. That's not something you should do. And I was like, you should want to tell the truth. You should want to do that. And I had changed myself, and my parents have pointed that out so much, and I'm personally happy for myself.
What's the difference? One, I'm proud of you, Samson. That's awesome. Explain the difference in how it feels. How do you feel when you were lying?
I felt so much anxiety because my parents have cameras to check in the house, and because they couldn't trust me or my sister, and we had made that big change so we could change. And they don't check the cameras all the time now. They're not so worried. And now when I tell the truth, I'm like, oh, I don't have to worry about this at all. I don't have to have so much anxiety.
Game changer. Yeah, and it also awesome.
Holy smokes. I mean, that kid is so smart, but his parents are doing something right too. They saw that he wasn't lying, and they didn't bring it back up. They focused on the new, not the old him.
Didn't forever label him.
Yeah.
They're celebrating the win, giving him a second chance, and you can see the confidence and the connection to his parents. I mean, this is where, he's saying this was in 3rd grade. You think he's now in 4th grade. And I love
he's so mature.
He's so mature. He's like, changed my life.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Changed my life forever.
Yeah.
But these kids, they're so moldable. And this is something that we as adults, man, I tell you what, when you spend time around kids, it's so powerful because there's something about being kid-like or childlike in absorbing information, then just simply applying it and letting it change you instead of that internal battle.
Yeah. And you know what, too, his testimony, and I think you told another girl the same thing, is going to change somebody else's life. It changed his life, but just, by expressing that, professing it, that it's so powerful. And that's so huge that he did that.
Yeah. So think about this. It goes from lying all the time to now he's owning, I'm a person of integrity, using those words, understanding the power of it. And again, a lot of us adults, we think, when they get older, they'll learn those things. It's it starts small. Those habits, they start small. The vocabulary, the deep understanding of the direct correlation between how I feel about myself, my self-esteem, and my behavior and my integrity or lack of it is linked to those behaviors. He got it.
Yeah.
So again, this is why educators, teachers, and parents love 5-star video curriculum, because what more do we want than for our kids to have integrity and to be so tuned into the connection between their actions and their self-esteem? Think about this. Think about the incessant amount of time on the airwaves, in the media, in the newspaper, we hear about anxiety. How often do we talk about anxiety and where it comes from? We talk about medication. We talk about quick fixes. But this kid went all the way to the core of it was my behavior. I was lying. I lacked integrity. which is a major cause of somebody who has identity issues, confusion, and low self-esteem.
When we record, Seth will write the script, and then we say, for the younger kids, is this over their head? And it's amazing what they pick up, and we rarely take it down. We keep it as you write it often, but I'm always blown away when you finally get to hear the testimonies that they take that all in and they get it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that point up, because we were in a 4th and 5th grade building, and that building, those kids had the most incredible feedback. I was like, man, we've traditionally been major game changers in middle school and high school, but these 4th and 5th graders, they are like sponges, and they can spit back rapid fire all the stuff that they're learning and implementing. They're doing it.
They're so smart. And my grandkids that are 10 and 11, also that's that emotional state, they're getting a little more emotional, but just to see that they can grasp this, and we're providing tools to help it not escalate.
Yeah. So if there's parents or grandparents listening or educators listening, I really want to encourage you to go to 5starlife.org and learn more about our video curriculum program. We also have this 5-Star Life Parent app that is an incredible tool. As we head into summertime, one of the big things that everybody thinks about every summer is learning loss. And so this is an opportunity for you as a parent to be really strategic about keeping a connection. And the worst thing that happens this summer is kids lose all discipline, all habits, because it's just kind of like they have a lot of free time, which is not all bad. Like, it's good that kids can go play and go be and be creative. But instead of having them in front of technology and them just zoning out, I really want to encourage parents to think about this summer getting our 5-Star Life Parent app and using the summertime as a time to go through a master class together. Like, we have all these master classes on how to build confidence, how to overcome and master conflict. We have all these great series that would be incredible to go through as a family. And we're talking, it's a 20-minute session once a week. If you have older kids that love to talk, it'll get longer, but it'll be longer because they're just engaged and they're feeling comfortable and safe. Think about all the issues in this country, in this world, that we always wonder, like, how many of these could be solved at the dinner table or in a living room? If kids just had somebody to process life with, if there was just somebody that they trusted, and if parents just knew a little more about what was going on in their lives and their hearts and their minds. I mean, think about the kids that either are so filled with anxiety and depression that they're just isolated and they drift off into all kinds of subcultures that aren't helpful to their psyche, or kids that take their lives or start experimenting with drugs and alcohol and sex and all kinds of things that are really damaging behaviors to their brain and to their heart. And our challenge, and we're just starting to talk about this on air, is we believe that the family unit is still the best bet in the world. Like, it is the place where thriving should be the foundation of thriving, and where the catastrophes should be eliminated because somebody has a pulse on where they're at emotionally, socially, physically, mentally, intellectually. Like, all those things can come out if you just spend some time together. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people feel pressure. I don't know where to start. That's why we created the 5-Star Life Parent app. We have master classes that basically walks you through the process. It's so simple. There's no pressure. All the prompts are there. All right, good stuff. You can check that out at 5starlife.org or anywhere that it's at the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back with more right after this. Go to 5starlife.org. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I am your host, Coach Seth, joined in studio with Coach Mia, my co-host. And we're having a great show. We're going to shift gears a little bit. We talked a little bit about some of our site visits and just going to really hear from kids. I mean, I think one of the things that separates Five Star Life from a lot of other curriculums or programs is some of them become outdated because they're not in touch with what's going on at the grassroots level, the ground floor. And so I think, when you go into schools, like you get to hear straight from kids.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they're super blunt, and it's just awesome what they share. There was one of the themes was, can you talk about how to handle family members who struggle with addiction? That was definitely a theme.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Seth, you don't talk about that much. So we're definitely going to add more lessons talking about how do you deal with it when you have an auntie or a brother or a parent who's battling addiction, and you can see the pain in the kid's eyes when they're asking those questions. And people just... One thing I love about this show is we get to kind of highlight and spotlight kids. People don't realize that there's a world around them in which kids are going through so much, and their little heart and their mind is being shaped and developed either for fear, for failure, for insecurity, which sets them up to be taken advantage of, to not be able to think critically about the friendship choices they make, which sets them up to struggle in school because now they're just trying to get validation. They're not trying to learn. Their focus is just off. It's almost like their whole world, the axis just gets tilted and tweaked where they're just off kilter. And so many people I hear wrongly say, well, it's just the way life is. And it's like, well, yeah, but we have a responsibility to change how life is, right? The whole purpose of us reaching any level of success is never just for us. It's always for others. And so we have so many incredible donors and volunteers that get that. But if you're listening to this show and you're not involved in giving back to kids in some way, I just want to challenge you to think about that, because you've gone through something and it wasn't just for you. You've overcome something and it wasn't just for you. You've got a story to share. You've got something to do. And at Five Star Life, we welcome you to be a part of that.
I think it goes back to like taking that responsibility that, life is, there's opportunities. Everything is not a burden. And, it's just life. Oh, it's just your age. It's just, that's just his personality. And we've learned that that's not true. You don't have to accept those things, and you can change those things.
Yeah, we're very powerful, which is a great segue into one of the themes that we taught kids that I want to go over in this show. Our whole theme this past year that kids are going through is, and they talked about this like crazy, like, Coach Seth, you taught me how to thrive at work, or Coach Seth, you taught me how to thrive through adversity, through hard things. And, we talk in our lessons about if you want to thrive, like prosper, flourish, grow at work, we first of all define what work was, right? And we just said, listen, work is absolutely a mechanism that's used to live a five-star life. Like work is a part of the developmental process. That's what work is. Work is activity that gives you skills to help other people, to be fulfilled. Work is how you find out what you're gifted for, what you're made for, what you love to do, what makes you come alive. Work is fulfilling. Work is inspiring. And so we redefine what work is, because so many kids come into the program thinking like work is just boring, or it's bad, or it's just hard, which it is hard. But I just gave a keynote last Thursday talking about that very thing. Like, life is hard. It will never be easy. So choose your hard, like going to school is hard. Now going to school is hard. Working hard to make money is hard. Being lazy and not working, not making money, and being broke is hard. Choose your hard. Getting up and working out, exercising, and eating healthy is hard. Not working out, not exercising, not eating healthy is hard. Choose your hard. Dealing with people and really putting intention into relationships is hard work, sometimes exhausting work. Not putting time, not putting energy in relationships is isolating and is hard. Choose your hard. So at every turn you think about work, we're always working. And life is always going to be hard. It's never going to be easy. So it's really about reframing it. And that's what we do in our program. We help kids reframe it from, if you want easy, go to Disneyland for a week. Right? If you want easy. Yeah. But that's not reality. That's an amusement park. Life is not an amusement park. It's more like a battlefield. It's more like a journey. And hard and work it doesn't mean it's miserable. Somehow it's gotten this stigma that work and anything hard is to be avoided.
I think one of the reasons is because you open up social media and everybody's life looks easy, it looks fun, they've got everything that you want, and then you got to go to work. But they don't see the other side. Those people put in a lot of hours to make their life look great. They don't just get up and record. They record probably, 100 times and then edit, and there's a lot that goes into that. So I think some people just get stuck on that other side that, my work stinks.
Yeah, it's the must be nice mentality.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
I guess it's also the victim mentality.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, a victim. So anyways, we're talking about this concept of work with kids, and, it comes down to belief, right? Our beliefs majorly shape how we view work, how we show up to work, and how we do our work. What you believe. And if you believe that you're in a dead-end job and that this is near slavery, then you're going to have a certain work ethic and a certain energy and vibe in doing your work. But if you believe that your work brings value to you, purpose to you, and actually makes you money to live and function, then you're going to work a little differently. And if you work realizing that my work, if I put my mind and my heart and my effort together, that I can do excellent work, and that excellent work is actually fulfilling. It's not just the paycheck that's fulfilling. It's actually at the end of the day knowing that I did excellent work. That is where people start to shift to this next level where they get out of this broken cycle of, I'm just a slave. I'm just slaving away 9 to 5.
But there's also that person that needs somebody to tell them they did excellent work. So you're saying this isn't an internal, I guess thermometer or whatever, that, you know what I mean? Like you have to tell yourself, like you have to know when you knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. So again, the one belief is, I'm just a slave. And if you're just a slave, you're just trying not to get yelled at or fired. You're just trying to avoid punishment, right? That's one mindset here. Or that's who rewards me. They give me rewards, right? And the other mindset is, no, this is, the belief is that work is for me to develop, for me to function, for me to live the life of my dreams. I'm going to work. And when you have that mindset, the reward is, yes, there's a financial reward that's extrinsic, but the real reward is intrinsic. Is this work fulfilling to me? Is it making me better? Am I getting better at it? Am I getting skills from this? Am I learning about, maybe I'm looking at management, how they treat me, and I'm gleaning from what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Maybe I'm coming with creative ideas. Now I can be more efficient. Maybe I'm thinking about how I can be a team player, how I can make the people around me better. When you look at work from that standpoint, there's a reward, and there's this whole internal process that goes on to becoming a great worker and gaining the skills to be a great worker, that what will happen is it will capture the attention of coworkers, bosses everywhere. And that's how people get promoted, and that's how they start to realize their potential.
And, I think we also have to go back to, we do teach kids that, but we also build upon, as you were saying that, I was like, oh, but we also teach kids to be self-aware, and we pour so much into them. So each lesson builds upon the other lesson. So when they get to this one, because I'm sure some people are going, well, how the heck how do kids get in this? But don't you think that's, well, you obviously know that. You
Yeah,
have to think it.
it's a whole process. Yeah. So
Yeah.
self-awareness is a big part of it. We first started with vision. Like if you want to thrive at work, it starts really with your imagination and with you having a vision for what kind of work you want to do. Right. So, and we also tell kids that, and this is one of the clips we have kids saying like his favorite lesson was the one that said like, he said, I stopped the nagging in my life. Like my mom she has to tell me to make my bed, do the dishes, she'd always nag me. And then you taught us how to take nagging out of our lives. Like, what was that? So by taking responsibility to do what I need to do. And then nobody has to tell me what to do. And so
simple.
It's so simple, but these kids, again, they're latching onto it saying, man, I've been complaining about being nagged and I think it's a parental issue. And, these kids, preteens, leading to teenagers, we're trying to prepare them to avoid disconnection from their parents because they need them a lot as teens. But culture has taught them that it's okay. Like, was that Will Smith song? I think it was Parents Just Don't Understand.
Yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. Parents just don't understand. And that mindset is a great destroyer of months and years off of people's lives, where they learn the hard way, where they get pregnant, where they get addicted, where their whole life gets totally railroaded for decades sometimes for life, because they think their parents just don't understand. And what we're teaching kids is like, listen, if you want to live a 5-star life, you better understand that you have people in your life to guide you, and your belief about your parents will make or break the next 5 to 10 years of your life. If you believe they don't understand, they don't care, then you will start to walk down a path where you treat them with disrespect. That will be the open door. But if you have the belief that, you know what, I'm a teenager, I want my independence, but I'm going to reject this idea that they don't understand. And I'm going to try to listen. And I'm going to try to communicate. And I'm going to give them opportunities to guide me through this process. And again, parents need help too.
They do, but it's a child. If they take that attitude, they can change a family. And if parents take that attitude, you can change your family too. I mean, it's vice versa.
That's right.
Which I love, because we hear a lot about that in Lyft, because the parents come to the program with the kids. So you're able to see that, almost immediately change families.
Yeah, and now we're all over the board here, but that when we come back, I want to talk about some of that, because we just started another cohort of our Lyft program. And I sat with a group of parents that, man, they have teenagers that are in trouble with the law and they're struggling. And it's a safe place where they can open up and share. Oftentimes we as parents, we don't know what the heck to do, but we don't have anybody to talk to. We'll be right back after this. At 5-Star Life, we talk a lot about the right tools. See, the hammer is the courage to be the best person you can be. The chisel is the respect you give and the respect you earn. The level, that's the integrity that keeps you balanced in a world that's always shifting. And the saw represents responsibility. It is what separates you from harmful actions and experience. It's the sacrifice it takes to work hard and be your best. Tools, when they're all used together, things are built. There's progress. But where there are no tools, there can be no progress. We give these important tools to kids every single day, and we couldn't do it without our partners like Global Link Distribution. Global Link supports this mission so that these values, courage, respect, integrity, responsibility, and sacrifice become the tools these amazing young people use to become great. Global Link Distribution is a leader and supplier to the RV, manufactured housing, cabinet shop, cargo, and horse trailer industries, but they're also a proud sponsor of this program to help 5-Star Life students thrive. It is our turn to see to it that our children have the tools that build greatness. Volunteer or donate today at 5starlife.org. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. Coach Seth here in studio with my co-host, Coach Mia. And we're having a fun conversation, talking about all kinds of 5-Star Life things, some of our site visits in schools, and also kind of diving into a topic that we taught kids about how to thrive at work. And ultimately, there's major misconceptions in our culture about work. So many people don't think work is good. They just want to live to chill, right? How can you work as little as possible and still get paid? And am I suggesting that kids should be workaholics? No, but there's a foundational part of work that is just so good and pure and part of being human that if you don't do anything, like you don't have any skills, you don't have anything to do, what is the purpose and meaning of your life? So it's very interesting, but we basically we're teaching that their beliefs are the vehicle that drives them like towards their goals. So if you have your work actually is founded in your imagination, your vision you have for your life. Where are you going? Right?
Right. Yep.
And then once you get that vision, you need to set goals, like the incremental steps to get there, right? Checkpoints to get there. But many people, well, actually, I think that's not true. I think I have it right here, actually. Like literally 50 to 80% of people have goals, but only 8% reach their goals.
Wow.
Only 8% of people reach their goals. And that's because very few people write their goals down. And those who do write their goals down, the reason that only 8% reach their goals is because most people don't really believe they're going to accomplish their goals. So just listening right now, people are listening and they have all kinds of dreams and goals that some of you're excited about it and you know you're going to get it. Others, it's like a dream. It's a dream, not a goal, not a vision. So instead of like, I know this is going to happen. So this idea that if you want to thrive at work, you have to actually, and you want to thrive and reach some kind of a goal, like what you believe, like if I don't believe that money is important, I won't go to work. And if I don't believe taking care of my family is important, I probably won't work very hard for them. If I don't like, so belief is foundational in how we show up to work. And if I don't believe there's any chance for me to be promoted or do anything that's fulfilling, then I will stay stagnant and I'll do as little bit as possible because it doesn't matter. I'm going nowhere. Or I won't even gravitate towards the dreams I have if I don't really believe it's possible, because why would I want to put effort into something that's just a waste anyways? I might as well just conserve energy.
You know, as you say that, I'm thinking about like some of it is a learned behavior from our parents of how they looked at work. So then that's what we, take into as we age and become more responsible. That's what we take into work.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's shared. We watch and we hear. We don't even realize it. It's actually in the subconscious part of the brain. But if you grow up in a home where a parent would say, I got to go to work, and they're moaning, groaning,
taking
complaining.
Advantage of me.
That right there goes in, and those kids naturally think, okay, work is bad. Work is hard. Like, I don't want to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not something I want to do. And so, but I have to probably at some point. But I got to be careful because I'll probably get taken advantage of too. And so there's all these mindsets, all these belief systems that are formed in childhood. And, if you've studied brain science at all or psychology, you know that so much of our reality is just perception.
Yep.
How we see it. You can have two people that see or live in the same situation, but they see it totally different. And one person is going to thrive and work their tail off and be promoted. And in 2 years, they won't be in the same place. In 10 years, they'll be in another planet. And there's some people that stay right where they're at with that same mindset. And then there's generations of people like that and families that stay in those same cycles forever. And again, it has nothing to do with the occupation or the kind of work. Zero. It has everything to do with the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be in that occupation, that's not what I'm ever knocking. Like everybody, like I believe God gifts all of us with certain skills and talents, but none of those talents are supposed to be dormant or unused or lacking in development. We're all supposed to be moving forward. And I think sometimes we get stuck. And the way our brains work, our brain does not want us to grow and live a 5-star life. It's literally a efficiency mechanism. That's what our brain does. It's made to make the energy to be conserved in the most efficient manner. And I was explaining this to a group of parents this past week that's in our LIFT program, and they're there because their kids are in trouble. And these parents are just amazing people, but a lot of them have been through, they've been to hell and back. Some of these parents, the stuff they've been through from, getting pregnant in high school and trying to raise kids through school, and then through addiction or abuse or whatever. It's just hard. And I was explaining to them, like the first week, I'm like, hey, get ready. Change is coming. But change, we get excited about the idea of change, but the reality of change, our brain doesn't know what to do with it. It gets really confused because our brain, all it sees is more work and more energy. And so if I'm in this cycle right here, the only way to break out of the cycle is for me to push against the edge of that cycle to break out of it. And when I push against that cycle, your brain will say, what are you, don't touch that. What are you doing? Hold on. You're getting up at 5:30 to work. Hold on. You're not drinking that stuff. You're drinking water. Hold on. What are you doing? And so our brain fights us and we wonder what's wrong with us. But the reality is all the greatest change in the world always starts with pain and discomfort. And so this is something that, again, if your belief is that change is easy and that thriving at work is easy, then there's a wrong mindset there, because ultimately it can become easy, but you first have to realize anything new is hard. But it's just hard for a little bit until you figure it out.
Why is it that, I'm thinking of like Kobe Bryant and, Michael Jordan, all those people who they faced the same thing. They had to face change, but somehow they pushed through or they made it look so easy. And then they crafted their skill.
Well, I've talked a lot about, like, one of my simple philosophies is like, we're going to be rooted and we're going to make decisions, and our belief is going to come from one of two places, love or fear. And Kobe Bryant was once asked, like, you're one of the best basketball players of all time. Why are you so good? Is it because you just, were you driven to practice and train because you just loved winning, or because you hated losing? He's like, neither. Had nothing to do with winning and losing. I loved the process. Mm. So ultimately what happens to those people that are highly, highly successful, and they'll all say the same thing, they love the process. They're in love with the process. They love the grind of getting better. And so, but because they've so consistently seen it work for them, starting it is hard. When you're first starting out and you're learning this process, change is hard. Newness is hard. But once you find your first breakthrough, and you realize you get one or two or three things in a row that you try that's hard, you start to become addicted to oh, I'm not afraid of this because I know I can figure this out. I can get people around me to counsel me. And this is actually really fulfilling. And it's when they start to kind of tap their potential that awakens something in them. And then when they start to see the change and the development, and then they start loving the growth and they like who they're becoming. At the end of the day, they work hard, but it doesn't feel that hard all the time because it feels like fulfillment. If that makes sense.
It does. But, I just think back to those people that, you're waiting for somebody else to tell you to go do it. I doubt anyone told Kobe Bryant to get up at 4 a.m. and go shoot baskets.
Yeah.
But he decided that.
Yeah. But again, if you want to live that way, if you believe that you're just a victim, if you believe that you have very little power, very little hope in your future, that's how you'll live. There will be apathy. It all comes back to your belief system. But if you believe that there is so much to do, and so much to learn. You can't wait to get up and seize the day because like there's not enough time in the day to do all you want to do. That's because you believe that you're on the edge of greatness, and that today, who knows what could happen today. And you know also that everything you're going to do is going to move you toward where you want to go. You know it. You absolutely know it because you've seen it. Again, starting is the hardest part because if you haven't seen it before, but most people give up too quick. They push against the edge of the boundary and it feels like pain. It feels like rejection.
Yeah,
it feels hard. And they think they're doing something wrong. In reality, the people that have done it for a while, that are highly successful, they know this is just normal. They're doing it right. There's something right that's happening if it's hard.
So when it gets hard, like what do you tell kids? Do they go back to where they wrote down their goal? Do they go back? Like how do you push through that?
Yeah, we tell them like, this is something I've said so many times, but whenever there's something hard, it's like, this is what it feels like to live your dream. Like we need to be reminded that this is what it feels like to live your dream. And we skip over. The stories are there. The books have been written about all the adversity successful people go through. We ignore it somehow. We ignore the hard. We skip to the celebration at the end, into the lifestyle they have, instead of looking at the process. It's all right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
And what's fun, we did this in the opening segment, it's fun to hear kids latching onto it and realizing like, man, being honest, having integrity, telling the truth, it's not that hard. It feels like it at first, but his belief changed from, I would rather avoid, being honest.
Yeah.
I'd rather just lie. He now knows like it's harder to lie. So he's on the right track. He believes it now. Powerful stuff. Okay. And we're going to take one more break, but want to encourage you to go check us out online, 5starlife.org. We talked in the other segment about, our 5-Star Life parent app. Encourage you to check that out. And we're just encouraging people to have one conversation with your family a week. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. Coach Seth here, along with my co-host, Coach Mia. And to wrap up the show, we're going to dive into just kind of the last part of what we teach kids in terms of trying to thrive at work. Mm-hmm. And again, this is like a 7-lesson series teaching kids how to thrive at work. And the fun thing about this series is our whole vision was we think that work has gotten such a bad name. And there's this stigma attached to work that kids have bought into. So you see kids just like avoiding work and they're just scrolling and they're just wasting their brain. And, we wonder what's wrong with society and look no further than our beliefs. And so it's been fun to hear by going back to the schools to hear kids like, this changed my mindset about work. And like work is the process that's necessary to thrive.
Did you ask any teachers? What did they say about that?
You know what? Teachers basically just said that, like they see the kids' work ethic in a very practical way change, right? So they see it in a practical way in the way they show up and the way they're doing their work. And like teachers love it because when you think about why so many kids underperform, there is this part of belief. They don't believe in themselves, and therefore their work suffers. Yeah. Right? So that's why so many teachers just like, this is what kids need. There was a teacher who just said like, no, because I asked that question, I'm like, are they getting these concepts? Like, are this beyond them, especially some of the elementary age kids? She's like, no, they absolutely grasp this and get this concept. So it's good.
I love it.
So there's a couple things in this lesson that we're teaching kids when it comes to how you can start aligning your beliefs with your goals. And the first step is something that many of us have heard about, but very few of us do. And that's using your imagination or visualizing like where you want to go. You got to get a vision for where you want to go, the specific, the end goal or the end vision, but also the goals. And you have to see yourself accomplishing your goals. Not just, so let me break this down for me when I was their age. And I remember this, and this is actually when I talked earlier about the cycle and how it's so important for kids to step in and start to experience what it's like to change and grow and develop, and the friction that's created when they step out and try something new. And for me, it was basketball, right? I wanted to be a great basketball player, but learning to dribble a basketball, shoot a basketball, and do what the guys do on TV that you see, there's this friction between where you are and where you want to go. But that was my dream. And so for me, I had to visualize it. And I had a dad who taught me to visualize, like, Seth, you got to see it. When you close your eyes, what's going to feel like? And he would act like he was the commentator. And there's introducing, at 5'11", Seth Moss, for the Detroit Pistons. And he would do that type of stuff, and we would laugh, but then he was serious. He's like, no, seriously, this is how you think about where you're going, because this is going to help provide fuel for you to do the work. So instead of just being out in the driveway by yourself, Seth, you got to pitch yourself on the basketball court at the time it was the Pontiac Silverdome. And so I learned at a young age, long before there was research and studies that backed up the power in that. What I was doing, and this is what now research says, brain science says, if you want to align your beliefs with your goals, you have to visualize it and use your imagination. And a lot of people think, well, this is just like positive thinking. No, it's not, because positive thinking is fine, but positive thinking is not that powerful. And let me explain that. Positive thinking it's just keeping it at the thought level. If it doesn't get to an emotional level and a belief level, there's not going to be long-term change. Because a lot of people, they think positive and they get bad results.
Mm-hmm. So what about the people, though, that say that's kind of, they believe like you should be in a book studying. Like, shouldn't be imagining this. Like, learn it in a book. Like,
explain.
Well, I think of old school parenting, parents, like, they would have been like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, you need to learn about basketball and, teach yourself. And they really discounted the power of the mind in that it could imagine and it could overcome that, versus the book is going to tell you exactly what to do.
Yeah, right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think it's the hybrid, right? It's using both. I think you have to study, you have to learn things, you have to make sure there's some intellect, like your intellect is engaged, but at the same time, all the research says we learn best by doing. What I'm saying is back up, and if you know you want something, but you don't believe you can achieve it, it's going to really crumble all motivation and all work ethic. And the way you go about the work or the training or the reading or the writing or whatever skill you're in, it will be diminished because you don't believe it's really going to happen. So that's why at the foundation of this, once you have a vision or a goal set, the question is, do I believe it? See, positive thinking is just thinking positive about it. But if you don't believe it, you can think positive all day. But if when there's belief behind the positive thinking, and you get to the root beliefs, now all of a sudden, every day you are pulled magnetically like a moth to a flame in that direction. Way different than getting up and just, I got to think positive. I got to think positive.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. But and it's a crucial part. So we teach kids, that's number one. You're going to imagine who you want to be. And then what comes next?
You have to begin to talk about it, right? I mean, something in your belief system, like we all share, just not even on purpose, our beliefs come out of our mouth. So in one of the hard things is we want to be humble, or we don't want to embarrass ourselves, or we have this fear still that maybe what if we don't accomplish that goal? And so I don't really want to talk about it because now I'm going to be what? Responsible, accountable. Yeah. Now, like, I got to do this. And people don't want to commit at that level. And also, a lot of times it's interpreted as arrogance or as, being pie in the sky or too far out there. And I've heard so many teachers and parents and coaches talk kids down from that. And I remember years ago, I was setting up for one of our programs, and there was a health teacher, and he had this PE class doing this writing exercise. He said, "I want you to write down, what your goals are. Like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do?" And then he said this, and he said, "I don't want some BS about I want to play in the NFL, or I want to be an astronaut, or I want to like." And I just thought, what? Oh, okay. So basically, and there's this line of thought that I hear many people echo that is like, bring it down to a minimal level. Don't dream too big. Don't think too big. Make it basic. Do basic things. And the problem with that is basic things don't get us up out of bed in the morning with excitement and joy, invigorated to live. What gets us up? Hope that we can do something great with our lives. And some people listening, I know you're struggling with this because your hopes have been dashed over and over, that you've stopped believing that it's possible. And it's frustrating to look at other people that are living your dream. And so we then, and this is often the category some parents fall into and coaches, is like literally have a friend who he played basketball in high school, and he quit at JV because his JV coach said, "Yeah, I quit when my JV coach said, yeah, one day you're Mr. Basketball in your state, and you're an All-American candidate in college, and the next you blow out your knee and you're no longer playing the NBA, and you're coaching high school basketball." So this kid's thinking, "My God, why am I playing this sport? Like this is going nowhere fast."
Man, but words matter.
They do matter.
I mean, and as a child, you can remember teachers that said things. I mean, coaches, and not really even thinking, what the damage could be.
Yeah.
By just blurting out things like that.
And we talked earlier about perspective is everything, or perception is reality. Well, guess what? I dreamed of playing the NBA. That was my big dream, of playing at Michigan State. Like, I wanted all that too. And I always tell people, like, besides being too short, too slow, not good enough, I almost made it.
So close.
So close. But, for me to look at that as just a total failure, and I wasted all that time and it didn't work out, poor me, and I'm never doing that again. Again, there's so many people that look at life that way, and I look at the opposite way. I look at that whole experience not as failure, but as an opportunity that I believe, like, God allowed me to dream the big dream because it developed character, it created connections, networking, social skills, the ability to have work ethic, to shoot for the stars and go after that consistently. Well, guess how that served me over the last 20 plus years in 5-star? I mean, all those things were so transfer. I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Right.
And that was ultimately, again, perspective is everything. I see that as I found my ultimate mission, my ultimate purpose. So it wasn't failure, nothing. Again, this is Kobe Bryant's mantra. I never lose. I either win or I learn. And nothing is wasted. And I think to the people out there that are so disappointed with how their life ended up, and I would just say this, your life hasn't ended up. You're still alive. Like, have you learned and have you used what you've learned as a springboard to take that information and better yourself and realize that it's actually for now. What you went through is for right now. And because I had that understanding, that epiphany, and had great people that taught me that, I know that all that stuff was not wasted. None of it was wasted.
So you had made a comment about kids should talk about this. So they imagine it and then bring it to life. Like, who do they share with? I know we only have a couple more minutes, but.
One, they've got to say it out loud to themselves. Like, I'm going to boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
I am boom, boom, boom. I'm going to boom, boom, boom. I'm starting on the path to boom, boom, boom. It's number one, it's for themselves.
So you're reaffirming your
declaring,
vision,
yes. And there's something powerful when you have you imagine it and you start to say it. I do this every day. You know that about me. And just saying out loud who I am and where I'm going, it's Hard to explain because some people are like, that's weird. It invigorates me every day. And I think people that don't do this are missing out on a really easy form of intrinsic motivation and joy, because just imagining where I'm going to be, again, when it gets to a belief level, there's an emotion attached to that belief that I am doing this. Dude, today is moving toward that. Like I'm living it today.
That's good. So what are we have about a minute left. What are some other things?
Yeah, I would just say number one, it's for yourself, but you got to put that somewhere, and you should share it with people that are close to you, not people that are going to be jealous or going to be careful who you share that stuff with, because not everybody can carry your dream.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are haters. Don't share with the haters. Share it with people that are very trusted, and pretty much share it with adults.
That's good. And trusted teachers.
Trusted teachers, coaches. All right, Mia. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, just a reminder, you can watch this show on YouTube at The 5-Star Life or yourhometv.com. You can listen to this anywhere podcasts are streamed. And just a reminder, you can get involved with 5-Star Life at 5starlife.org.